everyone, and welcome back to Wellness in Conversation. I'm your host, Mary Oakes. Hopefully, we have lots of bums on seats today listening, because this month we're getting down to the bottom line to talk all things gut health. Now, I suppose it's a topic that most people definitely don't want to talk about over dinner, but we're going to make bowels your new best friend, because what's going on in your gut affects everything from your mood to your skin to your sleep. And my guest today is the absolute queen of talking about this stuff openly. Her nickname is actually the colonics queen. Helen O'Brien is here, and she's been taking the taboo out of poo for over 20 years as a practitioner and clinical director of the Complete Health Clinic in Manchester, UK. So, Helen, how did you get started in the world of colon hydrotherapy?
I got started due to my own health history, Mary. So basically, I got a bout of salmonella when I was travelling in Morocco from chicken. And I was ill. I was really poorly. But after that, I got certain health conditions. So I developed an irritable bowel. So I started to have colonics because I also developed eczema quite badly. I'd had it as a child, but this was like quite out of control. And then I did my training, but I suppose because I found that the colonics helped me. And also, if I'm being really honest, I was in corporate world. When I was pregnant with my eldest son, I knew I wasn't going to get part-time working hours. So it kind of like steered me to do something, I suppose, really for the greater good. And we all have a bottom and we all have to go to the loo. So yeah, that was, I suppose, really kind of like led me on to the world of colon hydrotherapy.
Oh gosh, so it sounds like a nasty experience that brought you there, but thankfully for us,
Yeah,
obviously it led you to down your career path. So
absolutely.
colon hydrotherapy, I'm sure there are lots of people listening who don't know what on earth it actually is. You might not remember this, but when I first met you, you described it as a feeling of butterflies up your bottom.
Yeah, I still do. I still do.
So what actually happens during a colonic? I think
Right.
I'll let you explain.
So but I mean, there is a lot of myth attached to colon hydrotherapy. So I'll dispel this. You are not on all fours. You are not having a funnel up your backside. And I'm not at the bottom of the bed sieving it, as people think I do, with a gas mask on. So basically, when you come for an appointment, we go through an extensive medical form. We have to make sure everyone is, it's right to have a colonic, because some people aren't if they have a contraindication. So, and we check the abdomen because obviously that's a big area. If you think about from your breastbone down to your bottom bits, that is a big area and it holds a lot of organs. So we have to check that. And then basically what we do, we check your bottom to make sure that's okay. And you have a specular that's inserted into your bum. It's 1.25 inches. It's tight, really. It's not that big. There's no hose pipe that goes up there. Again, that's a myth. Um, so I always say to someone, it feels like you're doing a poo in reverse. So once that's in, you then attach 2 tubes. The first one is the water. So all that's going to go in your colon initially is warm, purified, filtered water. And it goes in, it's going to hydrate, it'll gently loosen the fecal matter, and it takes out the wind and the fecal matter. And then the other tube that is attached to the specular that's put in your bottom takes everything away. It's plumbed in. I see what's coming out. Clients can see it if they want to, but 9 times out of 10, we're having a good chin wag. There's no smell. And you're on your back, your knees are up, and your sensations are like a little heartbeat or a butterfly in your bottom. And the feeling that you're going to the toilet without having to push. And we do massage and we might use some herbs. We also do coffee enemas, so it's good for your liver. Because that's very important with your gut, to have that balance. Because obviously one of the things between the gut and the liver, if they're not in harmony, they help process hormones. So again, people perimenopause, menopause come to me because of like if they've got an imbalance. So that's why we do the coffee. And then we also do a probiotic implant, which is a good bacteria we implant in the colon.
So it's not as scary as it sounds.
No.
Basically an internal spa bath for your bowel,
Yeah.
really, isn't it?
Do you know what? And it's like I say to people, I see more socks and toes than I do bums. It's like you're covered up. And I've got great clients that either they will do the toes for me, or I've got some gentlemen, because I have a lot of guys, and I like looking at funky socks.
Sounds like fun. So
It is. Everyone, it is. Well, the thing is, it's like you can't dress it up. It is what it is at the end of the day. So yeah.
what kind of results do people typically notice afterwards?
Well, yeah, it all depends on why people come. The majority of my clients, obviously, they're coming because they're struggling with their bowels. So, constipation, diarrhea, bloating, excessive gas. However, some people come because they've got upper tract problems like indigestion and heartburn. Skin problems is massive for people because your skin's the biggest surface area and you see it. So, things like eczema, psoriasis, acne. But inevitably, I've got a lot of people coming to me at the moment on the skinny jabs. So it's a receptor inhibitor. So they're not going to the toilet. So they feel dreadful, quite simply. So it's the feeling really of relief. It's the feeling of psychologically knowing you've had a good poo because you release serotonin, which is your happy drug, dopamine, your get up and go drug, and melatonin, your sleepy drug. And it's the feeling of lightness, I think, more than anything else for people, because it's that discomfort. And if and the knock-on effect, it's like, I've had people that they've not gone to the toilet in like 2 weeks.
Gosh.
And they feel they're gonna do it. Your colon's a waste pipe. It doesn't just take the food out of your body, but other things the body has got to get rid of, and it affects your lymphatic system, for example. So people get swollen, bad breath. So I think the overall feeling, and also, I have that client on the bed for a good 45 minutes. They talk to you. And inevitably, there is a link between the emotional side of things and the physical. So it's a good therapy session for a lot of people.
It sounds like you can help with so many things. It's amazing what the gut health,
Yeah.
is linked
Ah,
with.
absolutely. It's that, it's the engine of we're a vehicle. We're no different than the car we drive. We all need a service and MOT. It all depends upon the miles upon the clock, and if you're a classic or a vintage.
The
So
oil change.
exactly, we need a valet, we need a clean, we need a clean. And you think, how much money you spend on a car, and you're like, we're the best vehicle we've got, and we're the longest one that we've got. We're the this is the vehicle we've got forever, so we can't trade it in after 4 years. So we do have to look after ourselves.
And why do you think talking about gut health and colonics, still makes people kind of blush a little bit?
I think it's the physicality of poo, which is direct. But let's face it, we're mums, and if you've got animals, you don't mind picking your dog poo up, do you? And also, I suppose the bottom thing, it's that private area. But again, as a woman, we're used to being fettled with. Bikini wax, you'll see more than what I will, to be honest with you. But yeah, and I think that's probably why, really, more than anything else. But I think, you've got now a lot more people, check your breasts, check your prostate, check your testicular cancer. There's a lot more openness, I think, about things you need to check that is obviously your private bodily parts, which, with society and times are changing a bit. So, yeah.
I love the way that, you put new clients at ease. Any tips to share to get people less embarrassed about talking about gut health and digestion?
Yeah, I think it depends on who you talk to, because the word anally retentive doesn't come from nowhere. So it's and I suppose that's why don't make it complicated. Everyone's got to go to the toilet. The king has to go to the toilet. Animals have to go to the toilet. Everyone's got a bum and everyone's got to poo. We're no different than anyone else. You know what I mean? It's a bodily function at the end of the day.
I mean, you mentioned earlier, Helen, as well about during the colonic you use probiotics, and
Yeah.
in the isogenics world, we love supporting a
Yes.
gut health through nutrition and natural supplements and beerbiotics, triotics, isomove are just three of our kind of digestive wellness solutions. What are your views on supplementation and how it can help?
The word supplement, it supplements, it doesn't replace. So supplements are there for a reason. And because of the modern world that we live in and the quality of food that we have, we do need supplements. And we need different supplements at different times. So we're coming into winter now or autumn, so climates are changing, foods are changing. So, looking after yourself, your immune system. So, because there's more bugs and viruses going around. But again, the food needs to reflect in that. So you'll have more root vegetables, more grounding foods. We're not designed to have, certain foods. We're not designed to have strawberries in the middle of winter. You have them in the summer when they come out. So again, I think it's going back to basics of how we used to live. It's abundant at the moment with the most amazing veg and fruit. So stewed fruit, nice hearty stews and soups. When in the summer we'll have fresher things because that's what you're designed to have, and it's having that diversity of foods. So, and if you're getting that, that's absolutely brilliant. But to boost your system, and again, stress affects your digestive system massively. Hydration does, or lack of it. If you're on antibiotics or medication can affect your system. So, and also, things like vitamin D, you know, we're in the dark now. We're going to be, the clocks go back next week. So those supplements are there to help us. And I'm all for it. It's not meant to replace.
It's so important, isn't it, that we get our intake of fibre and obviously
Yeah.
probiotics, prebiotics. What are your views
Yes.
on ingredients like magnesium, psyllium husk, and hyssop? These are some of the things that obviously we have in
Oh,
some of our nutrition products.
absolutely. I mean, like magnesium, for example, is one of the minerals that we're massively deficient on because of the farming industry. Years and years ago, that those farmers used to have every seventh year they used to give the fields a rest. There's a place in Manchester, it's called Fallowfield, because the fields were fallowed on the seventh year to get the nutrients back into the soils. We don't have that now. So therefore, magnesium is massively deficient. So, and it can affect all, your legs, your achiness, recovery, sleep. So again, if we're not getting it, we do need that as a supplement.
And can you help us understand the difference between probiotics and prebiotics?
Yeah, yes, no problem. So basically, prebiotics they're like fertilizers for your field. They're your fiber. Your probiotics are the flowers. So without the prebiotics, as in the fertilizer, you won't have your flowers growing. So probiotics come either from a supplement or from things like natural yogurt. They'll come from fermented foods, things like kefir, kimchi, sauerkraut. And then your prebiotics is like your fibre, it's your fruit and veg, of which we should be having at least 25 to 30 grams a day. So, and a lot of people don't understand what fibre is. So obviously, again, certain times, I mean, even I will look at my day and go, right, am I getting enough fibre? I've got a really busy day today. Am I eating enough? So to check that I'm getting the right source of fibre. So that's why obviously a pre and a probiotic at the right times are brilliant. But we do focus a lot on the probiotics. But again, without your fertilizer, your flowers aren't going to grow.
I love that analogy, actually. It makes it so
Yeah.
easy to remember now. I wish somebody had told me that years ago.
Well, I think the other thing is, I can't pronounce half these words that, I'm given. I'll look at stuff and I go, oh God, can't pronounce this. You know what? I'm, at the end of the day, I just like to keep things simple that people can understand. And when you can visualize fertilizer and flowers, it's easy.
Is that why they use the word flora when they discuss?
Well, I don't know, gut flora. Well, there you go. Do you know what? There you go, flora. Yeah, brilliant.
They could be. Now, I heard a fun fact recently that your gut contains more bacteria than a teaspoon of soil. That's incredible. So, do we
We-
need a good balance of good and bad?
Yeah. So basically, our microbiome, our gut, our microbiotica is a little ecosystem, and it's made up of bacteria, fungi, and viruses. And we've got anywhere between 30 to 50 million trillion cells, of which our human cells are 37 trillion. So half of us is bacteria and half of us is human. So we are this ecosystem, which is absolutely, we're phenomenal.
We're almost like a growing garden.
I know. Well, it is. If you look at the jungle, that's exactly what it is. We are that, and that's exactly what it is. It's, we're amazing. And I don't think we give our acknowledgement for our bodies and what they do. And, we're a fantastic creation.
And there's a great saying, isn't there? I've got a gut feeling, and it's amazing
Yeah.
how true that actually is, because there is a real connection. I think you mentioned it earlier, between your tongue and your brain, isn't there?
Absolutely. You have got, so basically it works both ways. So if you see something, your gut feeling will instantly, you'll feel basically. And then that will go into your brain. So it's enteric and enteric, I think it is. So it works both ways. And it's also it's attached with your vagus nerve, which is quite popular at the moment. So you've got a nerve at the back here, and that runs right to your gut. So when you see something and you get that gripped fear, that's when your body goes into fight or flight. Sympathetic and parasympathetic reaction, and at the end of the day that affects you, and it's your gut. It's like if you see a very good looking person, you might go, ooh, that's nice, and again you'll get a little butterfly. So again, it's that feeling, and I've done it, but don't ignore that gut feeling. If that gut feeling is there, it's there for a reason. And it is, and it talks to us. So it's really important. But a lot of the time we're in our heads. So your head and your little monkey mind gets into play, or you think, oh, well, hang on a minute. And 9 times out of 10, it is the gut that's telling you.
Right, well, while we're on the gut, let's talk about the microbiome. So you mentioned a few symptoms of an imbalance, and that they would be things like bloating, gas, constipation, bad skin, low energy, low mood.
Yeah.
So is it, people talk about an axis, don't they, between your gut and your brain and things. How do those symptoms end up developing? Like, what causes all those symptoms, like the bloating, the gas, the constipation, bad skin, etc.?
One, diet. Diet's massive, so ultra processed and processed food primarily, and not knowing what is ultra processed and processed. And I think that's quite apparent, when I say to clients, how's your diet? Oh yeah, it's good. And then you're like, right, okay, so what did you do at the weekend? Well, I had a takeaway. In fact, I had 2 takeaways. And you're like, right, okay, that's fine. And then it's like, yeah, and oh, well, I have my low fat yogurt, and I have this and I have that, and it's like quite a lot of sugar in that. Ah, yeah, but it's fine, it's diet. Yeah, but that's actually artificial sweeteners. So, well, it's all right. I get my meal deal from Tesco's, right? Okie dokie, right? And you get your packet. I get my fruit. I get my packet of fruit, and you're like, right, okay. I don't know how long it's been on the shelf for. And your sandwich that's got lots and lots of ingredients in it. So, and that's processed, and people aren't aware of that. Going to Starbucks, having a very nice latte or whatever. Oh, I'm having a treat, and you're like, you've just eaten 40 teaspoons worth of sugar there, and it's that. I'm going to say mindless, but it's just not. It's not knowing. And I think that's the thing, because and having worked in food advertising, I do know this, and marketing. You know, it's how things are very cleverly marketed. Oh, that pudding is high protein. Yeah, but it's full of artificial sweeteners and a load of other artificial stuff in there. And actually, you've got the same amount of protein in a natural yogurt than you have in that pudding. So it's my rule of thumb is if it wasn't here 50 to 100 years ago, don't eat it.
Yeah.
If you're looking at more than 5 ingredients, don't eat it. And if you can't pronounce any of the ingredients, don't eat it. So really, diet primarily is fundamental. It's the core. And then obviously along with that is stress, because the knock-on effect of stress is it affects the pH levels in your gut, how you eat, what you eat, when you eat, knock-on effect, stress. And also you may turn to other things to combat stress, alcohol being a main one. And don't get me wrong, I love a little cheeky beer and a glass of wine, not a problem at all. But when you turn to it more frequently without knowing, sugary stuff, so you know you're putting more sugar in your system, it gets very acidic. And then you might have a side effect. You go to the doctors, they'll give you something, and that'll give you another side effect. So yeah, and not exercising, not moving, being sedentary. But all is not lost, because things can be changed. And you know what, 80-20, and making tweaks and just being aware. I think the education, which, you know, there is a lot more out there now. But again, it's making it also simple and accessible and easy to understand.
These tips are gold dust, Helen. Thank you so much. They're
Oh,
amazing. And
that's
there's
fine.
also lots of buzz around intermittent fasting. I know we just
Yes.
mentioned food. So intermittent fasting, you know, I've heard it can, you know, promote the growth of the healthy gut bacteria. What's your view?
Um, I we're not designed to be eating all the time. So if you think about you going back to this Stone Age, you went out, you hunted, um, you came back, you cooked, you ate. You weren't in the fridge 2 hours later having a Kit Kat. So, you know, I think sometimes it's giving your body that rest. For some people, it works brilliantly. You know, and it's like, I mean, I'll naturally intermittent fast, because I do try and finish eating by like 6 o'clock in the evening and not eat till the following day. But I think it just depends on your lifestyle, because I train early in the morning. And it was funny, I was talking to my trainer and he's like, really, Ellen, you should perhaps be having a bit of something beforehand. So I thought, I might have to change this up. I think it's down to the individual and what works for them. You know, people go, what do I have breakfast? Well, breakfast is break your fast. So it doesn't necessarily mean in the day. So I think I probably haven't, I've been a bit woolly here, and I've probably not. It's very much down to the individual, their lifestyle, and how it works for them.
Yeah, no, you've been perfectly clear. So it definitely can help, but
Yeah,
depends when you can fit it
absolutely.
into your
Yeah.
busy schedule.
And also, I think, again, intermittent fasting, great, but don't intermittent fast and then eat a load of shite.
Literally afterwards.
Yeah. You know, afterwards, it's like these, you know, I have people that come for a colonic and then afterwards they're like, oh, great, I'm going to have this. And I'm like, I really wouldn't. You know, I'm not advising that you go out and have a McDonald's or something like that.
Better with a nice lean shake. At least they've got vitamins in it. And
Well, I was going to say, you know, have a shake, or you know, have something light or, you know, nutritious or something.
definitely. But we're going to end on a giggle now. You've got a great sense of humour when it comes to gut health, Helen. I'm not sure whether you can name names, but have you ever treated any famous bums?
Oh yeah, I have, and no, I can't name names. So, well, actually, I can name names because they put it on a podcast. So I've got two very good friends, and they've got an amazing podcast called "Help I Sexted My Boss." So with Jordan North and William Hanson, and they're absolutely adorable, and they're always talking about colonics on their show. So that they're lovely. But yeah, you know what though, a bum's a bum.
Pop star, a film star, or a
Oh,
footballer?
I've had it all, but do you know what? I think it's like people are people, and you know, I, and half the time, I mean, it's funny because I work obviously in a lovely place at the Lowry, and the girls are quite young, and I don't know who some of the people are. These whoever they are, because I don't watch that type of TV, and I haven't got a clue. And I'm there thinking, I'm old enough to be your mum.
Oh, Helen, this has been such a, refreshing conversation. You've made gut health sound approachable, real, and a bit glamorous. Uh, so I'm looking forward to experiencing it.
Right?
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for everyone tuning in to Wellness in Conversation. Remember, as Helen said, listen to your gut because it usually knows what it's talking about. And head on over to Helen's clinic in Manchester if you need a good clear out. Isogenics is some of the world's best gut health support products. If you do want to connect with one of our wellness advisors and give triotics, biotics, isomove a try, or reach out to one of your health coaches and ask about our digestive wellness pack. So we'll see you next month for more Wellness in Conversation. And don't forget, we're available on the Isogenics YouTube channel, Spotify, and you can also grab us over on the Isogenics Facebook page too. See you next time, everyone. Thanks so much, Helen, for taking the taboo out of poo.
Oh, thanks for asking me. I really, really appreciate it. I've enjoyed it. Thank you.
Oh, no, thank you. And we'll see you soon, Helen. Thanks a lot. Bye.
All right, darling. Take care. Bye.